What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to this Tuesday edition of the Dream Stream here at FTNDaily.com, presented to you as always by Superdraft Daily Fantasy. I'm here with my good buddy, Tenacious D Jones, David Jones. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good, man. Pretty good. I was talking to you backstage about last night's slate because it kind of got me. I thought I was going to win a ton of money because we had a lot of that Utah value not hit. But on top of that, you had like the Chicago game go nuts, which you couldn't really pin down before like DeMar DeRozan was ruled out. Then Vucevic was ruled in, and then Levine was on this minutes limit, which didn't matter because of his price. And it turns out like that was the game to stack because then you had SGA going nuts against them too. So I didn't have much of that game, so I didn't win a lot of money. I did get to a lot of Daniel House, which was great, but it still just saved me from like losing everything. So I had I haven't responded back. I had a message in Discord about do we chase the value tonight after what happened with the Utah guys, and I'll throw that question to you.
Sorry, go ahead again. I'm just looking at the rank sheet, and the rank sheet for me is real fucked up right now, but I see Doug, Joe saying that it looks good, so hopefully that's just me. Sorry, I know you were talking Utah value. What was the question again?
No, it was the question is do we chase that I just got was do we chase the value with New Orleans tonight since the Utah value busted last night?
Oh yeah, I mean that's I've said it in the chat. I've said it on stream multiple times. This you treat every slate like a free throw. Each slate is its own, so we don't need to worry about what happened with Utah last night. The Pelicans situation is entirely its own. And to answer your question, yes, we are going heavily with the field back to, or not back to, but to this New Orleans value. We will get there. No show preceding us today, so we'll go game by game. 9 games on the slate today, but somewhat of an interesting schedule. A lot of these games going early. 4 of the 9 go off here in 55 minutes right at lock. 2 more at 7:30, then 1 at 8, and then we got 2 games at 10 p.m. Eastern for kind of the double late night hammer there. So let's go ahead and get started, Dave.
We got news. We just got news.
Yeah,
I got to hop in. De'Aaron Fox and Metu are out.
Okay, yeah. See, I X'd that out on my notifications. I was just heading back to the news feed to see what happened. So Fox out, Metu out. Looks like Damian Jones available for the Kings. Also get some Memphis Wednesday news in there. Just before we went live, Anthony Davis confirmed in as expected and will have a minutes limit unspecified to this point, I believe. So we'll get a projections update from Kyle. We will get updates on the rankings here as we go, but let's jump into Denver at Detroit. Kyle Murray's Detroit Pistons hosting the reigning MVP and his band of misfits. Now down Will Barton, who is out. JaMychal Green also now doubtful for this game. So let's start with the visiting Nuggets here, David. Jokic 12-5. There on DraftKings. Obviously, the 1X on our sponsor Superdraft, 11-8 over there on FanDuel. Start with him and then talk to me about the Nuggets. Do you have any interest in these guys?
I mean, so obviously the big person for me is Jokic, right, against Detroit. And he's expensive. He's 11-8 over on FanDuel. It's a little bit cheaper than on DraftKings, but you can get anybody you want tonight, especially if you're using the New Orleans guys, which I am. I'm using like 2 or 3 of them. I don't care about Utah value last night, which, by the way, they almost won the game. It was just not everyone hit. I just spread it out pretty good. Look, like I know we're getting questions about with Barton out, are we going to play anybody from here? And I agree the spot's good going up against Detroit. Like I don't think that I'm going to get there. Like I'm not going to play like some Austin Rivers or like you're not playing any kind of Bryn Forbes. Monte Morris is, if you're picking one, it'd be Monte Morris for me at 4,400. But then you're also fading, well, you not necessarily, but then you also have good guard value with New Orleans, right? So like a few games ago against the Clippers, Morris in an overtime game got 44 minutes, 49.3 FanDuel points, and looked great like all throughout the game. That's why he got so much time, and the game went into overtime. He almost had a triple-double. He had like 20 fantasy points in the first quarter and just didn't stop. He's too cheap still, in my opinion, especially going up against Detroit, which I know they just played. He got 29 minutes and had a dud, but I don't know. It goes back and forth. Am I real high on him? No, I'm not. The person I'm high on is Jokic. I'm going to play him. He just played Detroit, same team, 36 minutes, 62 points. Just give me something close to that. You're going to have one of the highest scoring players on the slate. The guys are priced like in the mid range, and I'm not finding myself in the mid range a lot. I'm finding myself spinning way down or spinning way up. So it's about it for me. Like, you might want to make a case for Cunningham on the other side, which I get. You can do that. The price has come up a little bit. He's been like 6K flat like the past week. But personally, myself, I'm not going to get there.
Yeah, I don't think you and I differ too much on how to attack this game. I'm actually not like looking to really dig super deep into getting a lot of this Denver value, if you want to call it that, right? Like Aaron Gordon's there, he's fine. Monte Morris, I think I would prefer over Aaron Gordon at 4.7. But like the Bones Highlands and the Facu Campazos, like everybody here knows that I love both of those guys from a real hoop standpoint, and I love getting the opportunity to tout them. But with the other, like just in the context of the full slate, I can't prioritize any of these guys. And I actually think I may prefer getting to a guy like Bryn Forbes over Facu or Bones, just for the fact that he's probably going to go out there and hoist up, near double-digit three-point attempts for 3-3. So I think if I'm trying to attack and like get sneaky with that value, I might go Forbes. But again, I really have no interest in prioritizing any of these guys. And you hit the nail on the head with Detroit. For me, it's Cade Cunningham who would make my pool. And then, I'm not going to call you crazy with Kelly O out if I see a Trey Lyles, a Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart in your lineups, or even a Killian Hayes. But none of those guys I have a ton of interest in. I don't think I would have exposure to any Pistons if I was running my 20 lineups today. It's kind of just Jokic and move on for me.
Breaking news. I didn't know this. I'm going to have some Monte Morris now. I talked about how I liked him a little bit. Someone just told me in the chat, I Googled it. It's true. It's a homecoming game, right? So he's from Detroit, and I know we all love that. It works 50% of the time, every time. But he bought 20 friends and family tickets for the game and gave them out to people he knows. So if we can get like confirmation of some grandparents or a mother or a father or somebody in the crowd, I would like that. But I don't know. Like, you can't tell me he's not going to be motivated against the shitty Pistons team when he just bought 20 tickets for like friends and family for the game in a homecoming game. Monte Morris could play. He'll exceed value 4,400.
All right. Yeah, I like him. I like him better at the 4,400 price there on FanDuel than the 4.7. We got to pay for him on DK point guard only there. So let's move on to the next game here at Lot. Clippers visiting the Washington Wizards. Obviously, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard still out for this team. We did get news that my best friend Marcus Morris will sit this one out for the Clippers. Terrence Mann will start in his place. So now the most expensive Clipper on DraftKings is Reggie Jackson at 6.5. Reggie Jackson again at 6.8 over there on FanDuel. You have any interest in these Clippers guys? Like, I don't really like this game as a whole.
You and I have a lot in common. I think we both hate the Morris brothers more than anybody at FTN. It's just garbage. I don't have a lot of interest in the game, really overall. Probably a slow-paced game. I don't care if Morris is out or not. Like, what, you want to try and play a Baca or something, go ahead and do that. Batum, whatever, don't. I don't have interest in this game. I've got 0 people here, and we've got 50 minutes, and I'm not going to act like I have any interest in it at all.
Yeah, I think you could run out. I know we have the Mann starting news, but I don't think we have the rest of that lineup. It's not crazy to run Mann at 4.1. Luke Kennard 4.2, I think should get 30, maybe 30 plus minutes here. So I think those are the two guys that I would look to attack on the Clippers side if I was going to. But again, it's tough with some of the other values we're going to get to along the way here for me to make those guys a priority. And then the Washington side is a complete mess, in my opinion, and I don't want really any exposure to any of those guys on DraftKings. I'm always less familiar with FanDuel doing the ranks for our sponsor Superdraft and DraftKings. So is there anybody that kind of maybe is sneaky from the Wizards on FanDuel, or are we just moving on?
No, I'm not. I don't have any interest in playing these guys. There's too many other better spots. Like, you don't have to get a piece of every single game. I'm not going to have a piece of any of it. And if someone were to go off, they're going to be like extremely low, and you have to hit the nuts around them anyways. I'm not doing it. Man hasn't been playing good. I don't care if he's starting. I get the price is cheap, but there's other guards that I would prefer. At this point, I mean, I can rattle off some of the cheap guys I prefer around there, like Jose from the Pels. I would prefer him. Morris, I prefer him. Patty Mills, probably prefer him. Man, just no, he hasn't been playing good enough. And Washington's got a good defense, so no.
Let's move on to Charlotte and Toronto as HB Cards doing his due diligence and helping you out with the Monte Morris narrative there. Monte Morris tweeted an hour and a half ago, always an emotional day for me. Let's get it with the lock emoji. So more fuel to the Monte Morris fire from the man himself. And JaMychal Green, speaking of the Nuggets, active, unlikely to play.
I might play 100% Morris. I don't know. Look, I've got 3 teams. I'm only making 3 teams. And if you play with like Morris, Jose, and like some of the other Pelicans value, I mean, you can just stack anyone you want. Like I'm looking at a team now with Luka, Harden, a couple Toronto guys. Like we should be able to win some money tonight. Monte Morris is going to have a good game.
Good Charlotte work, and what's that?
I say good work, HB Cards. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Like
we love it. We love it. Charlotte at Toronto, game with some important news coming in very recently and still waiting on some from the Toronto side that will shape this slate. Gordon Hayward remains out for the Hornets, as does Jalen McDaniels. So, we've talked about it before. James Borrego, not a guy who is super interested in extending his rotation to those bench guys when they're missing players. That he kind of just distributes the minutes to the guys already in the rotation. So it's going to make, for me, guys like PJ Washington, Cody Martin stand out somewhat from the Charlotte team. I expect Kelly Oubre to come off the bench again. Kind of surprised he only got 23 minutes last time, 5-4 on DK. I think he's an interesting tournament play, but my 3 priorities here, if I was to call them that, David, are LaMelo up top and then PJ Washington with the power forward eligibility and Cody Martin guard forward.
Talk to me about why LaMelo. His price just keeps like crashing down. And we know the ceiling's like bizarrely high. He's 7,800 on FanDuel. He's going to be like 40% owned because all these guys in the big contests always play him. And he's like the cheapest he's been since his first 2 weeks in the league. Why are you on LaMelo? Besides
that's a good point by T Panthers. Kelly Oubre did get ejected for a flagrant 2 in the last game. So I appreciate you jogging my memory, my good buddy T Panthers. The thing with LaMelo for me, David, is that when you compare him to Miles Bridges and Terry Rozier, at least in my opinion, he has a higher fantasy point ceiling. Clearly, I think very clearly the best real player of the 3 of them. And the minutes last time out, even in the blowout loss to your Hawks, 34 minutes. So when we get him 34, 35 plus minutes, we've seen him put up some monster fantasy scores this year. But you got to scroll back a little bit in his game log to where he was actually getting that time consistently. But I think we get mid to upper 30s from LaMelo here as long as this game remains close. And I think it is projected, to be close. Currently, I see the Hornets as 5-point road favorites here up north. So yeah, that's my LaMelo case. I just think he's got a much higher ceiling than the 8-7 price tag infers. I have no issue if you're going to get to a Miles Bridges or a Terry Rozier. I would just rather spend the premium to get to LaMelo.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. He's too cheap. He's too cheap. For some reason I don't play him like a ton. I don't know. I guess it's been good this year, but wasn't so great last year. PJ Washington would probably be my favorite guy on the team, right? When he can get minutes, he can put up big scores. He got 31 minutes last time in the blowout against Atlanta. Now, I didn't watch the game, admittedly. So do we expect, and Oubre got ejected, do we expect him to get these same minutes? Was that because it was a blowout? I don't know. I didn't watch it. But I know that he gets more minutes when you both have Hayward and McDaniels out.
Yeah, so the thing with Oubre last game is the ejection came late. It came in the 4th quarter. So he didn't miss that much time. And he was probably going to, they were getting blown out at that point anyways. So I just don't know if we're going to get a significant minutes increase there. He got ejected, I believe, with 4:17 remaining. So even if he played the last 4 minutes, he was only getting 27 total for the game. So I don't know. It's tough for me to prioritize a guy like Oubre who played, 4 minutes. So, he only played like 11 minutes in the first half last time. So
yeah, I mean, I'm probably not playing him. I mean, but PJ Washington, like I'll probably have one of my 3.
Oh yeah, well, for me, it's not so much Hayward out for PJ. It's that McDaniels is out, and that's really raising his minutes floor, and the fact that he's still sub 5K there on DraftKings and over on FanDuel for 8 with the power forward eligibility on both sites. I think he's my favorite piece from this team. Let's see. I see Prize Picks throwing up another taco. So those of you that play on Prize Picks, go take advantage of that. We'll flip to the Toronto side where there's no Fred VanVleet, still no Kim Birch. And the biggest news that we're still waiting on maybe for the entire slate is Scottie Barnes, now a late questionable due to swelling in his right wrist. That was 30 minutes ago. So the guard forward eligible Scottie Barnes, who I think was going to get the start nominally at point guard here, he's already announced as a starter, but not confirmed in, which is pretty odd. So looking at him on DraftKings, we finally got power forward eligibility back for Pascal Siakam. Still power forward, only 9-1 on FanDuel. I like him a lot on our sponsor Superdraft at 1.2x with his forward eligibility. So I guess take me through the Raptors, assuming that Scottie Barnes is in, and then if he's out before lock, we'll circle back.
See, I haven't seen the Scottie Barnes news. I saw that he was in the starting lineup. And so after the starting lineup was announced, then it came out after that.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay. Well, great. So I had one of them? Yeah, I had one of them in my 3 lineups. That worries me about the knee stuff. But so that if he was out, I know Precious Achiuwa is getting the start. That would have to give Boucher significant minutes. I mean, right? In which case Boucher would be, because they like to play like they're not going to like give a bunch of guys 10 minutes off the bench. They're just going to slam in like Boucher or something, like when Trent was out.
I could see them going with Yuta Watanabe. I believe that Nick Nurse has done that in the past couple of weeks when we had a similar situation. It might have been the exact same injury scenario, but I do agree that I think regardless of Boucher starting or not, if Barnes is out, he becomes a really interesting play with obviously a ton of upside. We know his fantasy pedigree. As it stands now with Barnes, and I don't have a ton of interest in getting to Boucher because he's already kind of the upside is almost priced in at 5.8, in my opinion, on DraftKings.
I mean, maybe like when we saw, like when he had a great whatever week it was last week, whatever, he was still coming off the bench and just getting minutes just because they want to give certain guys minutes for Toronto. But what you say about Watanabe, and I don't remember if he was injured or not the last time, but that would make more sense for him coming in and starting for Barnes. But then you're still going to be out 2 starters for Toronto, in which case I think they give Boucher minutes off, as in good minutes, off the bench. So yeah, that's important. Is that a 7:00 lock?
Yeah, that's one of our 4 games going here at lock. So we should get that. I mean, we're under 40 minutes now until this slate lock. So I would assume we'll get that Scottie Barnes news within the next 15 to 20 minutes. I see Doug posting the Will Barton news. Yeah, Barton out with that hamstring injury. I mean, we're kind of beating around the bush here. My favorite play from this team is Precious Achiuwa getting the start at 4-2 center only. And there's some other centers we'll get to that project really well, but Precious Achiuwa has been absolutely fantastic in terms of at this price when he's starting this season, and he gets a fantastic matchup against the Charlotte front court here. So he's my favorite way to attack this Toronto team as of now.
I probably don't get there. I'm playing on FanDuel tonight, and there's just other centers that I would prefer to have. What do you have for a minutes projection for him? Because I always worry about his minutes. Like I don't think he gets over 30.
No, I have him for 32. I think he averages maybe a little north of that as a starter. If you look back last week when he had the 3-game stretch of starting, it was 33, 37, and 39 minutes as a starter there. So I think, and he does have that power forward eligibility, not just on FanDuel, but our sponsor Superdraft, 1.75x over there on Superdraft. So I like him a ton, kind of across the spectrum of sites, especially as, I mean, go ahead, David. Sorry.
I'm sorry. But like, would you get off him if Barnes does play?
Nope, because he's going to start regardless. He would still be like Barnes. If Barnes plays, I think Barnes is my second favorite Raptor, again, because I do think he's going to pick up a lot of ball handling duties as the de facto point guard. But Precious at 4-2, especially kind of in the middle of those two Pelican centers that we'll get to in the next game here. I like him a ton.
Okay. So would you prefer him over the two Pelican centers?
To be honest, it depends on that starting lineup. And again, we should get that lineup pretty soon here from the Pelicans. Let's go ahead and flip to that game. Pelicans visiting the 76ers. So I'm sure the Philly contingent of the FTN NBA subs are licking their chops for this victory tonight. The Pelicans will be, of course, without Zion Williamson, but no Brandon Ingram, no Jonas Valanciunas, no Josh Hart, no Devontae Graham. So Willie Hernan-Gomez, the sweet dick himself, the most expensive, Pelican on DraftKings, center only there. I guess let's just go ahead and start and discuss the centers, because you've got Willie Hernan-Gomez 4-7 there, Jackson Hayes 3-1. But we did get, I think ESPN tweeted out something earlier today or last night about that he was actually formally charged from his arrest a few months ago. So I don't know if that's going to play into his availability tonight, but it's something to keep an eye out for over this last half hour here. On DraftKings specifically, I have more interest in rostering Jackson Hayes tonight as long as he's active. You're getting a $1,600 discount, and I think the foul trouble issues that Joel Embiid could pose, it affects both of these guys equally. And I just think that I would rather take Jackson Hayes than the discount, and what I think should be an ownership discount. Let me refresh Kyle's projections here so I'm not looking at any old data. He's got currently Jackson Hayes projected for 7.5% on DK. And this, Kyle, you're going to have to let me know what's going on here. I don't know about Jackson Hayes, but like he's got Willie Hernan-Gomez for 1% ownership. So something's going on there. I'm sure we'll get an update here any minute.
Yeah, they're going to be heavily owned. So
yeah. Anthony's saying nothing is a lock with Philadelphia teams. That's for sure. But it is a lock tonight that some of these Pelicans are going to end up with fantasy scores that you will want for their price. So how are you attacking those two centers on FanDuel? I'm admittedly not familiar with their prices as of yet.
Yeah, they're free. So first off, I want to back up and go touch on a couple Toronto guys that I'm into, and then go back because we skipped over Gary Trent Jr., who I have a ton of tonight.
Yeah, good point.
So Trent, he's what? Let me pull it up. 5,000 on FanDuel. He's going to play like 40 minutes or something close to it. If you pull up the FTN split and look at Gary Trent Jr. with Van Fleet out, I haven't even looked at Barnes, but with Van Fleet out, he averages 8.5 more points. His usage goes from 20% to 26.7. That's a 5.65% boost. He gets a usage boost, right? I can read all this shit out, but I'm not going to. Gary Trent Jr. is too cheap in a good matchup. I have a lot of him. I might have 100% Gary Trent Jr. And I probably, if Barnes is out, like Siakam's like a little high priced, I guess, whatever, but like he's in a nut matchup too, going against Charlotte, and he's going to play 40 minutes. Like anyone against Charlotte playing 40 minutes, like you have to have serious interest in. Same goes for OG. Let me pull up OG, see what his splits look like, because no one ever plays him. I don't know why, but this guy can go out and drop 40 like no problem, especially against Charlotte. So it's loading. Okay, interesting. So the OG split, I don't know how many games this is. It doesn't tell me how many games, but the OG splits with Trent or with Van Fleet off the board are just terrible. Like he scores like 11 points less. His usage goes down a little bit, rebounds down. Turnovers up. That's weird. I don't know. That's strange to me. Maybe it's a small sample size, but that doesn't look great for OG. But Gary Trent, I'm playing a lot everywhere. And if you get Van Fleet, that's good. I mean, sorry, Siakam.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, flipping back to the Pelicans now. How do you Hernan Gomez min price there on FanDuel, center only, and then Jackson Hayes power forward only, so go figure. Not the wildest positional eligibility thing I've seen today, David, though. We've got Patty Mills small forward eligible today on DraftKings. But sticking with this game here, how are you breaking down those centers? And then let's talk the rest of the Pelicans value, because there's only 9 guys available tonight.
Okay, yeah, I'm told my internet's choppy and I have to refresh in a second here.
Okay.
Let me do that.
Scottie Barnes is out. Scottie Barnes is out.
Jesus Christ. All right. Let me refresh and I'll come right back.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. All right, I'll hit the chat while we wait for David to come back. Kruger's asking here, Hallie and Temple or Barnes? Is that Scottie? Because he's out now. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Come back with something else there, Krugers. There he is.
I'm back.
All righty. So still on the Pelicans here. Talk to me about those guys. Who are you prioritizing?
I'm not too worried about the Jackson Hayes getting arrested thing or whatever happened a long time ago. He just finally got charged. Hell, maybe he comes out more motivated. I don't know. I'm not going to comment on the situation. That's probably smart. But I think you have to I expect him to start at center, in which case, even though it's like one of the worst matchups in the NBA, going up against Joel Embiid, which I'm pretty terrified of. Like at his price, he's got to exceed that. Same goes for Willie Hernan Gomez. They're going to have to play Willie Hernan Gomez too. Here are the starters available, or the players available for New Orleans. Jose Alvarado, I don't know, probably said that wrong. NAW, I guess is what I call him. Temple, Herb, Hayes, Satoransky, Marshall, Clark, Gomez. So you've got 9 guys that could potentially play here. Jackson Hayes is going to have to get run. So, like him, he'll probably be in every lineup I make. Hernan Gomez, I'll probably have 1 or 2 of Hernan Gomez because he's just as of a good of a spot. I don't mind playing him on the same team just because of the price. It's actually not a good spot, but it's a great price play. So, I'm in on the bigs for sure. How do you say it? Is it Jose Alvarado?
I would say Alvarado.
Alvarado.
But yeah. So we did just get the starting lineup. It is Jose, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Garrett Temple, Herb Jones, and Willie Hernan Gomez getting the start at the 5. The Sixers will counter with Maxey, Korkmaz, Tybal, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid.
So Hayes isn't starting?
Correct.
Okay. Are we worried about Hayes playing now after I just said that? Because
I think we would get a some sort of notice from the Pelicans that he was inactive, that he was suspended, right? It's not like this is a new thing. If he's been going through this process, the Pelicans are probably privy to what's going on. So it seems like something we would have heard about. And maybe the discipline comes after this game when they have more depth on this team. So I think at this point, like on DraftKings, again, for the $1,600 savings, I'm going to prefer certainly Precious Achiuwa from the Raptors, but I think I'm going to go Jackson Hayes over Hernan Gomez if I have to choose, just because I think, again, the foul issues are there. It's not an easy matchup by any means against Joel Embiid, just in terms of the positional matchup. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Jackson Hayes put up a score similar or maybe even exceed Willie Hernan Gomez's production at the end of the night based on how this game could play out with that matchup. But then I would flip them on our sponsor Superdraft, where Hernan Gomez is 2x, Jackson Hayes 1.8x over there, only 1 center spot. Give me the sweet Dick Willie on Superdraft for 2x. I absolutely love Jose Alvarado tonight. I love Nickeil Alexander-Walker. No issue stacking them on any of the sites. Garrett Temple is a fine value play, but he just lacks the upside that those 2 previous guards that I just mentioned do, in my opinion. And then you can look at Herb Jones. I mean, 4 or 5 on DK, power forward eligible. You're certainly not going to play him at center. I mean, I would be surprised if he gets less than 35 minutes here. So he seems like a pretty safe play. And then I would much rather Najee Marshall than a guy like Gary Clark. And I don't think I'm going to touch Tomas Satoransky. But again, it's not crazy to play for maybe even 5 Pelicans in cash. I certainly would not leave cash or GPP lineups without at least 2 Pelicans here tonight. So Do you differ anywhere on the Pels here?
No, I agree with that. I agree. You want to get a lot of them because of the price. Terrible matchup, really, against Philly, I guess. But the spread's only 11. Maybe they figure out a way to keep it close, like we saw Utah do recently or last night. Like we saw the Pacers beat Golden State. Maybe they can keep it close. In which case, NAW would just go nuts. He's too cheap. I think I have him on every team. I'm not getting into like the Herb Streets or the Clark, or I'm not even playing Temple tonight, even though I expect him to get a lot of minutes. I'm playing the centers, and I'm playing Jose Desperado or whatever his name is, and because he's too cheap. So 2 or 3 on each team is full go.
Sure. Forget what I said about.
Let's talk about Embiid. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the Raptors will start Chris Boucher, not Yuta Watanabe. So I think it's a really strong play. Again, I don't think he's going to catch a 10 for me here, given the price on DraftKings. But I think 1.6 or 7x over on our sponsor Superdraft. I think I would prefer to get to him there, but strong on both sites regardless, and I assume strong on FanDuel as well. Sorry, go ahead and talk about Embiid. I don't think neither of these guys are going to stop him, right?
Christ. So Boucher's 7-1 on FanDuel. Like, that would have been great if he was like under 5 or something. Under 36 points for Boucher.
I'll go slightly over.
I'll go over. I mean, I like him a lot. I'm going to play him a lot. So Embiid, if this game stays close, then Embiid is probably going to drop 75 points if it stays close. If it gets out of hand, then Embiid dropped 55 and it got out of hand and they don't need him anymore. It's a great matchup for Embiid. Like, it's hard for me to play him over Jokic, but I'd probably play him over anybody else. And you're probably going to want to talk yourself into getting a 76er when you look at your lineup and you've got 3 to 5 New Orleans guys, which totally makes sense to me. Like, I'm all for that. I get it. I don't have one right now with Embiid, but I'm kind of talking myself into it more. Should I play Embiid or not?
I mean, I think he's a great play. Again, like, this guy has, I think, turned up his play even another level. Like, that's certainly not a hot take over the last, like, 3 games, 38, 40, and 50 real points, then 32 and 32. So quite a 5-game stretch here for Mr. Embiid, shooting the absolute piss out of the ball, getting to the line. Peripheral stats are there. 11-3, obviously a discount from a guy like Jokic, who we already talked about. It would be him or probably Korkmaz for me in terms of who I would get as my my priority in a run back situation here. But with 9 games on the slate and with just how unique of a situation the Pelicans are in price-wise tonight, I don't think it's necessary. Again, this game I don't think predicted to stay really close. 11.5 point home favorites are the 76ers. Certainly no issue getting to a Tyrese Maxey who should play 40+ minutes here, especially on Superdraft where he's 1.55x. But none of these guys standing out as like absolute locks. I have to have them, as a run back or anything like that. We did just get the Clippers lineup: Reggie Jackson, Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann, Nick Batum, Ivica Zubac. Nuggets going Morris, Rivers, Gordon, Jeff Green, and Nikola Jokic. Wizards, Dinwiddie, Beal, KCP, Kuzma, Gafford. And Hornets, Ball, Rozier, Martin, Bridges, Plumlee, the same 5 from the last game. Anything else here, David?
I don't think so. People are saying Drummond in chat. Like, do we want any Drummond?
I don't. I'll just play Precious.
Yeah, not tonight. Yeah, I'm good to go.
Sure. Let's move on to the 7:30 games here. First one, Sacramento going out east to visit the Boston Celtics. Sacramento side, important news here. No De'Aaron Fox, no Chimezie Metu. So you get a Tyrese Halliburton 7.4K price tag on DK over on FanDuel. You can find him for 7.7. I like him a good bit in that 7K range at guard. And then kind of the rest of this team, it's really Rashawn Holmes as the other priority, if you want to call it that. 4-6, his minutes are trending back up into the upper 20s here as he comes back from the COVID-19 protocols. If you wanted to play a Terrence Davis or somebody like that, I'm not going to call you crazy, but I just don't have a ton of love for this team outside of Hallie and Holmes right now.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about this game. We saw when De'Aaron Fox was out earlier, whatever, 2 or 3 weeks ago, Halliburton like just went nuclear. But he's clearly going to get the eye of the Boston defense, which I know isn't what they've been like in the past, but they're still. I mean, Marcus Smart's back, great defender. He'll probably be lined up on Halliburton the most. Halliburton 7-7 on FanDuel, like it's fine. Like we can see him break 40. I don't think I expect it though. Like I'm running my projections with our projections and getting not a ton of Halliburton, even though it's a good spot for him with no Fox. Terrence Davis price came up too much for me to want to play him, even though he's been playing great in Fox's absence. I doubt I get there, especially tonight against these Celtics at Boston. Boston sucks right now, but like they should be able to beat the Kings. So I don't know, man. Like if it were to stay close, you'd see an absolute ceiling game out of like Jason Tatum or Robert Williams. One of them's going to go off because it's the Kings and they're terrible down low. If you want to filter one in like Jason Tatum, that's fine. But for whatever reason, I'm not getting a lot of these Celtics guys. It's because of all the value that we're seeing on the other teams with like New Orleans, with Toronto, that kind of stuff. Holmes, I've heard a lot about today, 5'9" over on FanDuel. I guess that makes sense. I guess my phone's going to ring. I'm fading Holmes. There's too many other forward and center eligible guys that I like at cheaper prices.
Yeah, I don't. That's not crazy at all. Especially, I mean, you're talking FanDuel specific at 5'9", a different story there for Rashawn Holmes to be certain. How about the Boston side? Tatum and Brown up top, of course. The rest of this team relatively healthy outside of new acquisitions, PJ Dozier and Bol. I don't really have any interest in getting to these guys. I'd be fine if I, fit in a Tatum or a Jaylen Brown as kind of a contrarian spend-up piece. But you said it, Boston sucks. And I usually say that in just the full context of all their sports teams. But in terms of how they've been doing, the Celtics as a team, not been great lately.
I mean, I would just have to assume that Boston wins this pretty easily, like potentially even blowout here. If they didn't, then Halliburton would have a good game. I guess Terrence Davis would have a good game. You'd have Holmes having a good game. But if I don't know, if I choose one on the King side, it's going to be Halliburton. I know you asked me about Boston. I kind of answered that earlier. I'd probably just a guy with a high ceiling, which would be Jason Tatum, which is kind of a cop-out answer, but that's honestly probably who I'd take. I don't think I want Marcus Smart. I definitely don't want Dennis Schroeder. I don't have any of these guys right now because of the other value in the other games, like just to be clear on three teams. But yeah, could Tatum have a great game? Yeah, he could.
Let's go ahead and move to the other game. More entertaining from a fantasy and a real hoop standpoint. The Lakers going out east to visit the Brooklyn Nets. No Kevin Durant, no Kyrie Irving in this one, but the Lakers do return Anthony Davis. He will be on an unspecified minutes limit. Given his history with, really getting hurt all over his body, I would be surprised to see that minutes limit, really exceed 30. So it is 9.8 price tag on DraftKings. I can't get there. 1x floor multiplier on our sponsor Superdraft. 9K flat on FanDuel. Not for me. And with him coming back, it's really tough for me to get to LeBron, and I'm certainly not going to Westbrook tonight. 8-3. Like the sites are trying to entice us back into Westbrook, but I can't get there on this 9-game slate. You have anybody or any interest, I should say, in the Lakers?
Nope. I'm playing 0 Lakers tonight. But on you've got Davis back. It kills everything you just said. On the other side, James Harden, game on TNT, no Irving, no KD. Offense will flow through him. Price came down, 10-5, FanDuel. 55-point upside. The Lakers defense isn't what it once was. Like last season, like they're actually really, really bad. So I'm not worried about LeBron on Harden. I'm praying that Westbrook gets on him, but it'll be more LeBron, I would think, with Davis back. So we know the usage bump that Harden gets when KD and Irving are out. I have a lot of them. I'll tell you right now, it might be 100% on my 3 teams. 1, 2, 3. I've got them 100% right now over on FanDuel. So Harden's the guy I'm looking at. If you want to go to Patty Mills, go for it. But I'll tell you what, you look, I'm not trying to throw shade at your boy Patty Mills. Like I know you're a big Patty Mills. Not trying to do that, but
Sure.
Look, he is not a high floor nor a high ceiling guy. I don't care who's playing. Every 1 out of 8 opportunities he gets to get a ton of minutes, then he'll break 30 points. But I'm not playing him tonight. I think he's a bad play relative to the slate. If he broke 30, would it shock me? No, it wouldn't. But I don't think it's going to be a better play than Jose Alvarado over on New Orleans, who I'm pretty high on. I don't think he's going to score more than Monte Morris, who's priced down there close to him. So I'm not going to play him. The only guy from that game I'm playing is James Harden, and I'm pretty damn comfortable with that.
Yeah, no doubt. And really tough to get to any of those front court guys with Nick Claxton back in the mix tonight for the Nets. If I was going to go to anyone outside of Harden, it would be Patty. Maybe a shot on Cam Thomas, but I agree it's tough to prioritize him tonight with his price being relatively correct, kind of across the three that we are concerned with here. Again, the small forward eligibility, very interesting there on DraftKings. Let's move on to a game that I think to start the day, when I looked over the slate about 8 or 9 hours ago, this game was really popping. And not just because my favorite team is playing. Spurs going to Houston down I-10 to take on the Rockets here. Tankathon 2022. Keita Bates-Diop out for the Spurs. Everybody else there and healthy. No Primo, no Wieskamp, etc. Those guys are down in the G League, but all the main rotation players here. I like getting to DeJounte Murray at 10K. I'm not going to put in the call for a repeat performance. 73.5 DK points for him last time these two teams played a few weeks back. 10K is too cheap for him in this matchup. You see it, he let us down last time somewhat against Philadelphia with only 49 3/4 DK points, 1 rebound off from his 3rd straight triple-double, 2nd in the league, David, in triple-doubles this year. DeJounte Murray's too cheap. I'm fine if you want to go to Jakob Poeltl. I just have other places I want to prioritize my center position. But he's certainly a strong play in this matchup. Derrick White, my second favorite way to get exposure from this Spurs team at 6K flat on DK. How are you attacking the Spurs?
No, my favorite one's DeJounte Murray, right? So I'm not getting into the weeds with like all these guys that I hope could be good values tonight. I'm doing that on New Orleans. That's how I'm going to play it. So only person I might get is DeJounte Murray just because of the high upside. Look, you're the Spurs guy. If there's any other guys in there like you want to touch on that you think are a good value, go for it. But I know it's a great matchup against Houston. I just and they'll all be low owned because you've got the New Orleans value. But I don't have any other guys besides DeJounte Murray, and I think I have 1 out of 3. It might be 0 out of 3. I mean, he's priced like, you can get LaMelo Ball for like $3,000 cheaper, $2,000 cheaper. Curry's around him. Harden's around him. I'd rather have Luka Doncic, I guess, not any shade at all on Murray. Like, I would love to have him in my lineup. He probably drops 50 again because that's all this guy does. But yeah, that's all I want. I want 50 burgers if I'm paying up, and then I'm going to spin down and get 35 from some of these scrubs.
Yeah, I would be less inclined to prioritize DeJounte over there on FanDuel, where you don't get the double and triple double bonuses. And a full point deducted for turnovers there. I would rather get to those studs that you mentioned. If I was gonna get a value spur, it's probably Devin Vassell. But I'm not super high on him tonight. No Lonnie, no Doug McDermott for me. Let's flip to the Houston side again. This game, really attractive total here. The Rockets only 5-point home dogs with a 233 implied total in this one. Christian Wood, center only on DK, 8K flat. Has been really productive lately from a fantasy standpoint, coming off a 53-point game, fantasy points, that is, and 45.25 last time out against the Spurs. Kevin Porter Jr., 6'3", Jayshawn Tate, 5'4". I'm fine getting kind of any piece of the Houston starting lineup, but I can't really prioritize any of them on this slate. They're kind of just either if I'm full game stacking this game or as a last guy in, I'm fine with those top 3. You're not crazy to play an Eric Gordon or a Jalen Green, but I would be more than 20 lineups in before I got any Eric Gordon or Jalen Green, I think. Can you prioritize any of these Rockets?
No, I'm not playing any of them. I mean, my lineup's going to consist of Pelicans, Toronto guys, and there will be 0 Houston Rockets on any of my teams for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, not crazy at all. 2 games left, 13 minutes to do it. Dallas out on the West Coast taking on the Warriors tonight. 210.5 total here with the Warriors, 3.5-point home favorites. Not the best fantasy environment, at least on paper, but you've got Luka Doncic here, 10-9. I believe this is the second of the 2 TNT games tonight. So you've got Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, hopefully Klay Thompson, Kristaps Porzingis in a nationally televised game. Only one game sub 67 DK points for Luka Doncic in his last 4. That was a 49-point performance against the tough Phoenix Suns defense. Golden State, not a pushover on defense either. Can you get to Luka tonight?
Yeah, no, I've got 2 out of 3 Luka teams just because the high floor, high ceiling, right? I came into this slate and I said it to you in the green room. Like, this is a very easy slate. Like, you don't have to go and start digging into the weeds on all these separate teams. I'm trying to get that across on this stream when I just cross off teams. Like, I have no interest in them. Luka Doncic against Golden State, they're great against point guards. They're great at defending point guards, but it's also Luka Doncic who can contribute in many different ways and could possibly get you a triple-double, nationally televised game on TNT that they could win against the Golden State Warriors, who haven't liked the Warriors like the past week. Yeah, I like Luka a lot. He's got one of the highest ceilings on the slate. If I don't have Luka, I've got James Harden. Hell, I'm looking at it 2 teams out of my 3 that have Luka and James Harden on them right now. Like, that's pretty good. So Luka's the guy that I'm going with. I looked at Kristaps Porzingis. Like, no one's going to own Porzingis tonight. He's relatively cheap for what we know he can do on a team that's not going to have Draymond Green on the other side defending him. Like, he's in a pretty good spot. But if you play him, then you're giving up on one of like the Jackson Hayeses, the Bouchers, the Siakams, the Hernan Gomez's. And so I just don't find myself getting there. He could get 45 tonight. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But as far as exceeding value at the same kind of rate, it's not going to be the same as the cheaper guy. So just give me Luka, and I don't care about the rest of the other guys. Steph, I considered. Now, do we have Klay news? Is Klay going to play?
I believe he is still questionable. I think it was Coach Kerr saying that I don't know if his knee was like swelling up or if it was just sore, but they had enough concern to keep him out of the last game. So I kind of think he plays, but again, I don't think we're going to see more than the 23, 24 minutes, which I believe has been his ceiling thus far in his return. I'm pretty much in lockstep with you here, Dave. Luka, for me, the priority from this game, if I have one. Porzingis is fine. Certainly not a priority. Secondary play at best for me. I don't really want any other shares of this Dallas team unless you're, playing the late slate or something. And Steph, if Klay plays, it's really tough for me to prioritize him with all the other spend ups that we've talked about thus far. Certainly sees that ceiling, or the frequency, I think, of him hitting a ceiling at that price comes down if Klay is active. Like Looney priced up at this point. You remember when Steve Kerr said Jonathan Kuminga was going to start until Draymond Green came back? Yeah, that lasted one more game. Let's flip to the other game here at 10 p.m. Last one of our 9, Minnesota out west visiting the Trailblazer. I actually have some elevated interest in guys on this Portland side, but let's talk Minnesota here first. Towns still 9-4 on DraftKings, a little bit too cheap. I like him a good bit. D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, mid 7K price tags. Those guys are fine. If Patrick Beverley gets out there and plays tonight with that ankle sprain at 4-3, I think you could have some. I would end up probably with a couple shares if I was running my 20 lineups. And then if Beverly is out, you could slot in some Jalen Noel, certainly on the late slate at 4-1. Any guys sticking out to you from the Wolves?
The only people I have here would be D'Angelo Russell, but it's not someone I'm high on. I like his price, and I like the matchup going up against Portland. That's all great. So D'Angelo Russell would be my guy there. I'm considering Karl Anthony Towns, but I don't want to play him at the expense of Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic, which I can fit easily. So it looks like I'm fading Towns. I've got Jokic and I've got Embiid, and those are my centers tonight. The spend ups on FanDuel because you can play the other New Orleans guys at the power forward position. So that's it for me over there. I considered Robert Covington, which feels gross to say, but you don't need to get there. I think he has a good game. I think he's set up to have a good game, but I don't think you have to get there. So if you need Russell, go for Russell. But at the same time, you can pivot and get LaMelo Ball for like the same price, which I'd rather have. And same what I said with Karl-Anthony Towns. There's other centers I'd rather have. So I don't know. Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't really, get it done that often, if we're just being honest. As far as like exceeding price, he's just one of those guys that's always priced high. And he's a good player, but I don't know. Why don't you like win me some money? You haven't all season, so I'm not going to play you.
Yeah, he's certainly been down this season from a fantasy standpoint. Although the Timberwolves are right there in the mix for a playoff spot out west, maybe not saying much with how down the conference is as a whole. But if we flip to the other side here, I have a lot of interest in tournaments in getting to CJ McCollum, 7.5 there on DK. Kyle's got him projected for almost 41 DK points. I agree. I have him just a tick higher, and I don't think the field is going to get there. Kyle Murray agrees, 7.5% projected ownership, so you don't have to play a ton. I think I would try to like triple up the field in terms of my CJ McCollum ownership tonight because, again, like in any other season or even before this extended absence with Damian Lillard out, when Dame is out, we play CJ McCollum, especially if he's low to mid 7Ks. So CJ McCollum for me tonight is a really sneaky play in those late games. I like him a ton on DraftKings. 1.3x on our sponsor Superdraft, also pretty appealing. You can Yusuf Nurkic, but there's just so many other centers that I want to go to today. I can't really prioritize him. And the rest of this roster, I don't have a ton of interest in. How do you feel about the Blazers?
I agree with your point about I'm not there because the way pricing works out today. I totally agree with everything you said about how much he can score, but I don't have him, so I'm not going to recommend. Getting close to lock. Question: would you play both of the Pelican centers in the same lineup?
That's fine. I just don't think I think I'm limiting my ceiling there rather than just picking one and getting a different center from just the menu that we have of attractive center plays today. Like I would probably, if I'm running one lineup, I'm going to take one of those Hornets, the Pelicans, excuse me, one of those Pelicans centers. It's probably going to be Hayes and just get the ownership discount there and play Precious in my utility spot or vice versa. Obviously, both of those guys going off here in about 5 minutes. A lot of questions stacked up in the chat. So let's clear this queue here. Zan asking thoughts on Boucher. I think he's a really strong play, but David, I know you made the case for Boucher earlier. So give me 10 seconds on Chris Boucher. Getting the start.
He probably scores over 40 points. His price is high at 7-1 on FanDuel at least. What's it? You got a price on DraftKings for me?
Yeah, 5.7 there. Definitely a more attractive play on DK.
Lock him in. Lock him in over there. He's going to have a big night. I played him on FanDuel at 7-1, so that's way cheap on DraftKings. Mm-hmm. It's Boucher starting everybody. They're missing two of their starters. He's going to have a big game. So yeah, I like him a lot.
Kruger's asking Patty Mills, Herb Jones, or PJ Washington. It's slightly Herb Jones over PJ for me, and then Patty in third. I know he's playing over on DK. Swervo asking, is it Jakob Poeltl season? Not quite for me. A strong play, but he just doesn't project as well for me as some of those other guys, particularly the Pelican centers, Precious Achiuwa, Nikola Jokic up top.
You can make a strong lineup with playing these mid-range guys tonight that I've been skimming over the entire show because that's not what I'm doing. But people like Poeltl, even Kristaps, people like that, if you make a lineup and just skip over all the value, you're going to be automatically unique and you're going to have a chance.
Good point. Shazam asking Luka or Embiid for DK single entry GPP. He's got 3 of the cheap Pelicans. So for me, the answer is Embiid.
God, yeah, I guess so. I mean, if you're playing 3 Pelicans, I guess that makes sense.
Let's see. Mallard asking any concern on the Hayes situation. I think we would have heard news, so I have no concern about Jackson Hayes' availability tonight. Luka or DeJounte straight up. Give me DeJounte tonight.
I'll take Luka.
On DraftKings, at least. I know Hugo's playing on DraftKings. Josh asking. Yeah. Go ahead.
Luka, I'll take Luka.
Sure. We want to put it on the board? New DK points? Because I got a different answer on FanDuel.
Yeah, I don't care. Whatever. I mean, both sides.
We'll do DK.
I'm not like extraordinarily confident in it. I love DeJounte Murray, but I'll take Luka over Murray. Sure.
Josh,
With
I
a
see
healthy first team.
Luka and Patty or DeJounte Murray and Boucher. He has Precious Achua. It's still going to be that second one for me.
Definitely the second one.
Thoughts on Porzingis? I think David just gave his thoughts. I think he's a kind of a sneaky play, right? Priced advantageously. He just doesn't jump off the page in the context of the full slate.
That's correct. I think he has a good game.
How many Raptors are too many for you?
3.
I agree. Jay Craig asking on FanDuel. So I'll toss this to you, David. Mann or Cody Martin?
Neither.
If you have to.
Mann.
Gotcha. Both of those guys getting the start in place of Marcus Morris for Terrence Mann, Gordon Hayward for Cody Martin. Triple H asks.
Maybe Cody Martin. Maybe Cody Martin. Go to the next question.
For what it's worth, I would Cody Martin.
Yeah, you're probably right there. I didn't realize that he was actually picking up the start when I answered that. To be fair, God, okay. I'd say Cody Martin.
Triple H saying NAW off the bench. Is that okay? Absolutely. I actually think I like it more with him coming off the bench. He's still going to get his time and certainly his usage. Javi chiming in. Did we talk McCollum? You can tell Javi's not listening to the show because he asked that question, I think, 30 seconds after we finished our McCollum talk. My guy Steelers fan asking Jackson Hayes and Siakam or your boy Monte Morris and OG Anunoby?
Hayes and Siakam or who?
Monte Morris and OG Anunoby.
Nah, second one. I've got 100% Monte Morris now. 36 minimum.
Gotcha. I think with on DraftKings at least, I'm leaning towards that first one because we can now play Siakam at the forward. No pressure saying he's playing Luka over Harden. How do you feel about that?
I don't hate it. I mean,
it certainly doesn't excite me. Harden just projects so much better tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer Harden. What we're doing?
Yeah. Hugo 2v2 here. Herb Jones and Kelly Oubre or Boucher and Terrence Mann, and he has Precious Achua in there. I think in a GPP with Precious in there and those 4 players to decide from, I'm siding with the Herb Jones and Kelly Oubre. I think both for ownership, and I don't think the upside is. I think it's very similar there, even with Boucher on the other side. P-Buck asking a 2v2 here. Aaron Gordon and Jakob Poeltl or Patty Mills and Christian Wood. Aaron Gordon there, no Will Barton for the Nuggets.
I mean, that's an interesting one. I looked at him, but in the context of the slate, I don't have any of them. Which one do you think? That one's close for me.
I think I'm going to lean slightly towards the first one with Aaron Gordon and Jakob Poeltl, but that's very close. Anthony asking. Go ahead.
It makes sense if you say Jokic and Morris, but I'm not. So.
Sure. Anthony asking CJ McCollum or Tyrese Halliburton. I would CJ in tournaments, and I think I would probably Halliburton in cash.
I wasn't able to upload one of my CSVs. That's why I made that face. I probably agree with you, McCollum over Halliburton.
Let's see. Aaron Gordon in play. Well, he's in play. He's also locked now. I apologize, Josh, for not getting to that question. And then Cam saying he'll take Mann over Cody Martin on our invisible board. We can put that on the invisible board, Cam. I like that one.
I mean, that one I'm like kind of perplexed on. You're going to have Martin start. You know what? I probably agree with him now, too, because Martin, it's not like when Martin was drawing the start and you didn't have, the entire starting lineup for the Hornets out there. You're still going to have LaMelo. You're going to have Plumlee. You're going to have Walker out there. Oubre coming in off the bench. Who am I forgetting? Graham? Rozier. I mean, it's not like it was when he was pulling the starts about a month ago. So I'd probably go with Mann, even though Mann's playing like shit.
Sure. Any love for Chris Stapps? Yeah, we touched on him a little bit over the last 10 minutes, Mallard. I think he's really solid. The price is pretty advantageous, but just doesn't really jump off the page to either of us. Not going to call you crazy if you roster him really on any of the 3 sites. Let's look at ownership, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here. Obviously, we will be around in chat through lock of those last 2 games. This ownership coming on DraftKings, 400K fadeaway with 100K up top. Anthony saying, man, the Morris ownership. So I don't know if that's too high or too low, but we'll find out here in a second. Maybe you can get me a FanDuel number on your boy Monte Morris.
I would love to. I'm working on it right now. I realized so I did my projections, which are Kyle's projections, and then I mess with stuff. If anyone knows, like, you can change them up a little bit. I always change them up a little bit because I'm doing my thing over here. But I was trying to upload a new CSV because I realized my projections, my best team left $1,000 on the table, which is way too high for NBA. It's way too high. Yeah, for this site for sure. But that's what my projections were giving me. So I gotta mess with it. But automatically, I have a team that's different than everybody else's, and I'm only in a 100-man contest, and I love all my plays. It's got Monte Morris on there, which just locked. It's got Jose Desperado on there, just locked. Gary Trent's on there, just locked. It's got NAW on there, just locked. It's got Precious on there, which I probably would have tried to pivot up from $1,000 from Precious because I don't love him. That just locked. It's got Jackson Hayes, that locked, and it's got Jokic, that locked. I'm not going to be able to do anything with this team because you can probably guess the other 2 people that are on there. But I don't know. So hopefully I win it with $1,000 tonight. We're looking for Morris ownership on FanDuel. So I'm just like thinking out what I need to have for myself if everyone enjoys watching that. So,
I'm here for it, man.
People like to take about 10 minutes and until they give you their so we could draft.
We did get Nets and Lakers starters here. Westbrook, Avery Bradley, LeBron James, Stanley Johnson pulling the start, Anthony Davis at the 5. The Nets will counter with Harden, Mills, Bembry, Kessler, Edwards, and Day'Ron Sharpe. Despite Nick Claxton being back, Day'Ron Sharpe, the rookie, will get the start there for the Nets. So on DraftKings, I got the ownership here from the main. Nickeil Alexander-Walker coming in up top by a wide margin at 74%. Pascal Siakam, 49. Jose Desperado Alvarado, 46.5. Chris Boucher, 36%. OG Anunoby, 28. Willie Hernangomez, 25. Herb Jones, 22.5. Garrett Temple, 20. Jokic, 19.5. Your boy Gary Trent, 18.5. Precious Achiuwa, 18. Then Jackson Hayes at 16. Some other notables: Joel Embiid, 13. PJ Washington, 10. Terrence Mann, 9.5. LaMelo Ball, 5, alongside Cody Martin. Aaron Gordon all the way down at 2.5%. That's not terrible. We don't have to play a ton of him to get over the field. Kelly Oubre at 3%, also sneaky. And your boy Monte Morris, 2.27%.
Dead money. That's 98% dead money. If you don't have
if you don't have Monty.
If you don't have Monte Morris. Yeah, man, he's going off tonight. Who like HB cards? Like, this is the litmus test. This is the narrative litmus test tonight. You got the homecoming game. You got the cheap price. You've got no Will Barton. You've got him buying tickets to friends and family. This is the litmus test. So I'm pretty confident about it. I played 100%. So this is the FanDuel qualifier, which I'm going to win tonight. I hope people don't quit that if I don't, but I feel confident about it. Monte Morris, do you want to guess or no?
The ownership there?
In the qualifier. And keep in mind, it's
in the queue.
It's 100 teams, and I have 3 of them.
I'll go 3.2%.
Can't be 0.2% because there's.
Oh, you're right. It's 100 teams.
Yeah.
Look at I'm a smart guy.
I've got 3 of them, so that's already 3%.
Okay, so give me 6%. You got half of them.
I wish. It's 11. That's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Here's my question to you though about Monte Morris.
Yeah.
For the because they're in Detroit tonight. For the 11-35 Detroit Pistons, how much money do you think Monte Morris actually had to drop on tickets for his entire friends and family?
Oh, that's funny. Well, they're probably good seats. That's funny though. Excuse me, because I can sit courtside at the Hawks game for like, what did I like? You can find it sometimes for like $400 or $500.
Yeah, and the Hawks are fun to watch.
And the Hawks are fun to watch, and you get to hang out with like fucking Mutombo and eat popcorn with him, like in this little tunnel. It's pretty cool. But I don't know. He dropped 10K, 12K.
Okay.
I guess.
I'll take the under.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think he can fill up a section for like $5,000.
Yeah, I think so. And it's not like they're all going to be sitting like next to the bench. It's probably like $5,000. You're probably right.
Sure.
All right, I got more.
My goodness.
Jose Desperado. Guess his ownership. FanDuel Q. $4,100. $4,100.
28.
45. MJ's old number that people forget
about.
Gary Trent. You gonna guess? $5,000. $5,000.
I'll say 13.
Oh, 47. 47.
Really?
Yeah, 100% of them. All right, the big sneeze, Precious Achua.
Wow.
He's 4,100. I just made up that nickname, and that is mine.
I like that one. The big sneeze. That's great. We'll go 20 on Precious.
45.
Holy cow.
So this is that's all the qualifier stuff, which obviously there's like good people in.
Yeah.
All right, last one we have to do because this is an important one. Actually, we're gonna do a couple more. NAW 3,800, and I'm gonna tell you that whatever your guess is too low. So shoot for the moon.
I was gonna say 88.
Too low.
92.
94%.
Wow.
Yeah. Two more. We'll do two more. Or Willie Hernan-Gomez, 3,500.
Yeah, starting. That's a lot of other value though that people have in there. Give me give me 55. The old Sammy Hagar.
79. What's 55? What's Sammy Hagar 55?
I can't drive 55.
No.
Sammy Hagar song. Yeah.
Man,
like how many dupes do you think are in there out of that 100? Because that ownership is concentrated as fuck.
I don't think any there. So my opinion on that is that no one ever dupes anybody. Like everyone is out here trying to not dupe people, and nobody's duping anybody unless you're talking about like showdown slates. Like you're not going to dupe anybody. And if you dupe somebody and you win, like who gives a shit? Like you still won. Yeah. You can't try and not dupe people and make a worse lineup. Like you're not going to dupe anybody on a big slate like this. It's not going to happen.
And if you do, I'll split 100K or whatever would be 150 if three people tie. I'll split that three ways.
Yeah, of course. And like, when's the last time? Like, you've honestly and this is for everybody. Like, when's the last time? And if it happened once out of the past month, or like the last time that you've looked at your lineup and you're just like, oh my God, I'm tied with somebody. This is terrible. Like, number one, you're never tied with anybody. Number two, it's never terrible if you're paying attention to it because you're winning money. So don't worry about duping people.
Sure. A lesson from Tenacious D Jones himself. Listen up. You might learn a thing or two, everybody. And if whether you've learned a thing or two or not, if you've caught us for free on YouTube or Twitter, you come check us out. 1 month here for the NBA package is going to run you $49.99, but you can use that promo code scrolling right below our heads right now, FTN TV. It's all one word, and that'll give you 15% off your first month here at FTN. You'll get access to the optimizer, which now has late swap capabilities. You're going to get access to Kyle Murray's proprietary player and ownership projections. You're going to get access to David Jones, Mr. Tenacious D Jones himself. You can see him pointing out the FTN TV promo code there. And again, you get more than just that. You get access to the tools, all the standard stuff you'll find anywhere around the industry, some of our more unique tools, advanced DVP, game environment tools, things like that. you got to come subscribe to try those out. Our subs are taking advantage of those every single day. You get access to the premium Discord channel. You can ask questions on YouTube or Twitter. We're not going to see them. We only see the questions here in the premium Discord during the live streams. You get access to Fast Eddie, Fear, and Mine's ranks, all that stuff every single day. Again, $49.99. Use the promo code FTNTV, all one word, for 15% off. And if you stick with us past that first month, that 15% discount will be applied every month through the end of the NBA Finals. So as long as you want to stick with us this season. So come on over, try us out for a month, and get in that Discord. When you do, tag David, tag myself, let us know that you're here, because we would love to have you. So with that, David, unless you've got anything else to add, my guys, the team that I used to coach, are playing right now. It's halftime, so I'm going to get off, go watch the second half of this game. I'll still be here at my desk. No. Come on. I have enough trouble not saying beat off randomly as it is, dude. I'm going to get off stream, David, but still sit here at my desk. I'll have the chat over here. My guys playing on the live stream on the other screen. So I appreciate everybody being with us today. Appreciate you, David, for your time and all the insight, both before and after lock. For David, I'm Zach. Shout out Thomas, our producer extraordinaire behind the glass. Good luck tonight, everybody. And as always,
let's get these beans.